The Mantle of the Black Knight, worn by many, but known by one character in particular, Dane Whitman, who happens to be the MCU's choice for the carrier of the mantle, and a character that will have a huge impact in the MCU, maybe as soon as the rumored Eternal sequel that could come to the big screen in late 2024 or 2025. Which brings me to give you a first look into things and tell you everything I know so far about the still unconfirmed movie. Rumor has it a second Eternals movie is already happening at Marvel Studios. The news came out of nowhere, but I am more than glad to hear about it. The first Eternals movie was a hit, not the biggest one, but definitely one to be taken seriously, as the movie proved successful, like almost all projects of Marvel's huge box office success, as well as a huge critical success, with the reviews showing just how much the movie was important for the entire MCU, and not only because of the movie itself and the Eternals being on Earth way before any of today's MCU heroes, but also because of just how big of an impact that movie will have in the future of the MCU. Even when the movie dropped last year, a lot of speculations have been flying around about whether we are going to get a sequel for the movie, or whether the characters that appeared in the movie itself will get scattered across other MCU projects. Well, technically, we might get a bit of both, with the upcoming Eternals movie being a project of its own, but probably set in a more recent time, with the events of the first movie and the Eternals connected even more to today's world and how their actions will eventually shape the MCU, something the sequel will surely try to depict, with all of the characters that survived the first movie presenting themselves as big-time players in the events to come throughout Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the MCU. Not much is known about the sequel, but still, I am here to tell you all about it and tell you everything that I know so far regarding the movie. And with that out of the way, let's dive right in.
Any of them.
The first bit of information regarding the sequel came through Patton Oswalt, who portrayed Pip the Troll in one of the two post-credit scenes of the first movie, who appeared alongside Harry Styles' Star Fox. And no matter how short the post-credit scene was, the appearance of the two should be enough to make us wonder, just why exactly did Marvel decide to show those two, alongside the other post-credit scene, about which I will go more through shortly. No official confirmation has come through regarding the sequel from Marvel or Disney, which means that the upcoming information should be taken with a grain of salt from your side. But considering the news is still out there, Marvel might not be too far from giving the green light to the project. An official one, of course. One concerning thing about the movie that worries me is that even though the plan for Marvel about the MCU's future has been laid out, nothing has been said about the upcoming Eternals 2 movie. On the other hand, however, seeing how there have been a few project slots left open during MCU's Phase 6, there is a high possibility that one of them could have very well been reserved for the still unconfirmed Eternal sequel, which probably means that seeing how jam-packed Marvel Studios' schedule is, we will probably have to wait at least until late 2024 to see the movie hit the big screen. There are not a lot of details shared about the potential movie. However, judging by the rumored title, Eternals King in Black, there was a premise on which I was able to work some things out. But before I do that, let's see what potential cast members will probably hit that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, on the more serious side of things, let's see which cast members we could see return to their roles for the sequel. First things first, we will surely see most of the main cast from the first movie reprising their roles in the second one. The first movie did not go out without its casualties, including the likes of Salma Hayek's Ajak, who was killed by Deviants with the help of Icarus and lead Deviant Crow that killed Don Lee's Gilgamesh. Icarus, after seeing the error of his ways, he seemingly flew into the sun, seemingly to his death, which is the last of the three core members that we will probably not see in the flesh, and only in a flashback or two. Given the 7,000-year history the Eternals have lived so far, another character who we will probably not see is Lia McHugh's Sprite, but for a different reason, who asked to be turned into a human, and was by the hand of Cersei, who will surely return with Gemma Chan in the role, who will likely be joined by the other Eternals who survived the first movie. Being too early to tell, I will leave things as they are, which is a good enough reason for me to shift my focus towards Kit Harington, who will be back as Dane Whitman. potentially as the Black Knight, something that was hinted in the other post-credit scene from the first movie. A character that will likely take the center stage if the rumored title, King in Black, is to be trusted. The story of the sequel will be tricky to guess, not only because of the loose adaptation the first movie was based on, taking inspiration from Jack Kirby's comics, while also telling its own story, but also because of just how little we know about the potential unconfirmed sequel. The end of the first movie saw Arishem take Cersei, Kingo, and Phastos from Earth in order to look into their memories and judge whether humanity is worthy of survival. The same role the Celestial Arishem has in the comics as well, being the judge of the Celestials. For some reason, Thena, Makari, and Druig manage to avoid Arishem, and on board their ship, the Domo, they are visited by Eros, Harry Styles' character, who tells them that he will help in their pursuit to find their friends. And now, even though the previously mentioned characters could very well appear in other MCU projects, the scene itself feels like a direct setup for Eternals 2, moving away from the Eternals and their practical immortality. Before me, I have Dane Whitman, aka the Black Knight, the one character that is probably going to smash the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. On the more serious side, however, he is probably one of the closest characters to the Eternals out of all the MCU characters we've seen so far. The Black Knight is one of the oldest and most complex characters in the Marvel Comics, with several heroes and villains carrying the mantle of the Black Knight. The MCU's Black Knight mantle will fall upon Dane Whitman's shoulders, who is also the most enduring and popular of them all. Everything about the Black Knight revolves around the mystical sword he wields, the ebony blade that comes along with the heroic legacy of his ancestors. The Black Knight character will be a huge deal in the future of the MCU. And not only because of what he is and the power he has, but also because of his connections with so many characters from the MCU, ones that are already part of it, but also the ones that have yet to appear and make their debut, particularly Blade, who was confirmed of starring in a standalone movie, a character that connects the Black Knight with the Midnight Suns group, a history that he shares in the Marvel Comics. Speaking of teams, groups, or affiliations, Dane Whitman has also been part of the Avengers at one point, something that I would really like to see happen in the MCU, with him being one of the members of the upcoming iteration of the Avengers team. And he was also part of MI-13 team, which, as you might have guessed, is a top-secret British intelligence agency, a way of how the Black Knight could be introduced to the other long-standing members of the MCU, and him connecting with the rest of the MCU following the Eternals 2 movie, with it giving us a deeper exploration of the character and setting him up to become a very important character for the multiverse saga. Whatever the case may be, one thing is for sure, the MCU has something big prepared for Kit Harington's Dane Whitman and for us in our homes, and I for one cannot wait to see things unravel. See you in the next video.